Well, howdy, folks. Hello there, Tech. How's it going? It's 7:30 p.m. CST on the 9th of October in 2021, and it's time for some more Cast Talks. Also, hello to you, Playful. How are you doing? Just turn this down just a little bit. There we go. You're glad to finally catch a live stream. Well, I'm glad that you can too. You're doing all right. Well, lovely. Oh, and thank you so much for following over the week. I was glad to see that a little earlier. So I welcome you guys back. And if you're curious what this is a little thing we do on Saturdays where we sit back, talk about some good news, look at some animal videos, and just take it easy for a little while. Yes, 2 during the weekend. And for the most part, this show is about having something smooth and calming on the background in case you've had a rough day or maybe a rough week. But for the most part, what we do here is we just talk through chat, watch awesome things together, and just take a load off for a little while. And this is good for if you have something to do and you want this in the background as well, or if you're trying to go to bed, this is kind of a sleepy situation with this stream. And yeah, for our follower recap, we have Third Tech Games, who unfortunately we weren't live to see the follow, but I'm still glad to have it regardless. So let's get started. How have you been doing, Tech? I haven't seen you in Second Life much, but I've scarcely even been in Second Life these days, with all the stuff I've got going on recently. So I hope you haven't, I hope that you feel like you've been productive and that you've been having a good time. Today we have a pretty good slew of good stories that I've noticed. A lot of environmental stories that I'm actually really happy about seeing. So I'll give you a few right now. The first one is, it's actually weightlifting. I'll do that one. Making hydrogen energy is hard, especially when it's clean, but researchers just solved a major hurdle. You found all of your old textures on an old PC, so you're pretty excited to get back to building. You know, I'm not completely acquainted with that feeling, though it does sound like a lot of fun, a lot of motivation. When I was a young lad, I moved from my home in California, and while packing, I placed some of my favorite G.I. Joe action figures and a very soft and expensive velvet cape I had put on one of them into a box. And we had packed that box and placed it on one of the moving vans. And for years, I was looking for that box, right? Over 200 textures, yeah, it's quite a bit. It's quite a bit of work. I'm glad you found them. G.I., I'm so glad you could make it. Hello. I was looking for this box for years, and then one day I found it, and I was so elated, but at the same time, I had aged enough that I wasn't really playing with G.I. Joes anymore, so it wasn't the same impact, but I get what you're talking about. It can be really revivifying to find something that you didn't think you'd ever see again. And I hope that you're doing well, G.I. I was really happy to speak with you in the Discord about all the guinea pig stuff. It was a good time. I'm glad we got to do that. So another one of ours is, let's see, animals, 30-foot fence. Ford announces transformative $11.4 billion investment in new electric vehicle plants in Tennessee and Kentucky. That's a pretty good one. Oh, I like this one. Full battery charge in 15 minutes. The world's fastest electric car charger is launched. That's a great one. And let's see, where's another good one. The world's first totally green tractor will set to plow down European farming emissions. These are all, frankly, fantastic. I'm really happy about all of these. Alright guys, let's begin. I'll read this first one, and then from there we'll go into my other thing that I wanted to show you guys, which is a lovely video of me and a dog. Generally going into a couple of things that I did over the week. I visited an animal shelter and I had a great time, but more on that later. So, a floating flower garden in Tokyo immerses visitors with orchids that move as you approach. Let's look at this one. There we go. This is by Good News Network from the 2nd. A three-dimensional mass of floating flowers created by Team Lab in Japan has been moving visitors not only with its technological magic, but with its overwhelming natural beauty. In this work, called Flowers and I are of the same root, the garden and I are one. People immerse themselves in the flowers, becoming one with the garden, says TeamLab. Open since July, the museum space is scented by the fragrance of 13,000 living orchids suspended from near invisible wires. They're able to survive in midair because orchids are able to grow without soil by absorbing water from the air. In fact, all the diverse orchid species used here evolved to live on rocks and trees where other plants could not survive. And in the exhibit, they grow and bloom with each passing day. The artwork space seems to be completely filled with flowers, especially because of the mirrored floor. But enter and pause, and the blossoms slowly rise to the ceiling whenever people approach, opening spaces previously concealed. The garden starts to make a space for humans, but they are moving super slowly, so you have to adjust your time to the gardens, reports CNN. You can see in the video below that after you move through the curtain of orchids, they slowly descend again behind you. Wow, that's crazy. Founded in 2001 by Toshiyuki Inoko, TeamLab is an art collective and interdisciplinary group of technologists who are blending art and science, technology, and the natural world. The team includes artists, programmers, engineers, CG animators, mathematicians, and architects. Although the floating garden exhibit is running until the end of 2022 at the TeamLab Planets Museum in Tokyo, other works can be found in the US, Australia, and Istanbul, in the permanent collections of the Art Gallery of New South Wales, Sydney, Art Gallery of South Australia, Adelaide, Asian Art Museum, San Francisco, Asia Society Museum, New York, Borusan Contemporary Art Collection, Istanbul, and National Gallery of Victoria in Melbourne. And here's the video in case you're interested. Now that's crazy looking if you ask me. It's one of those rooms where you can't quite tell where the floor begins and where the flowers end. Chia Fluffpaw is now following. That's really good news. Thank you so much for the follow, Chia. Look at these flowers moving. This is the future. Flowers that like move out of your way as you walk into the room. Look at that. That is some Poison Ivy superhero stuff right there. You know what I mean? Uma Thurman would have control over these plants just like this. I think her plants would be a little quicker, but I mean, this is still pretty great. I'm not gonna knock this just for that. It's slightly scary though, you know what I mean? That the plants are moving around you. Slightly scary. But man, I've never seen anything like that before. So it does close back around you. That's something. That's really something. Gosh. Look at this big boy right here. Rescued seal celebrates birthday with ice cake, then falls asleep right on top of it. Last month, the Cornish Seal Sanctuary celebrated the 31st birthday of one of their favorite residents, and the team spoiled him with a colorful layered ice cake. The gray seal, named Yulongs, is a big favorite among guests. He was rescued as a pup in 1989 by a marine park in the north of England. When the park closed down, Yul Langs was released back into the wild. However, as he had spent such a long time in captivity, he had no idea how to even feed himself, and he had become too attached to humans. 3 months after his release, Yul Langs was rescued by the RSPCA after receiving calls from concerned members of the public reporting that he had been chasing people with buckets on the beach because he thought they contained fish. Oh, that's horrible. He's just grabbed buckets and like, fill the bucket with fish, please. Do what you've always done. And people are just like, I don't know what you want from me. I don't have fish for you. He's like, come on, fill the bucket. You know you have fish. You know you do. He's like, I've never seen this seal before in my life, but I mean, he wants fish. He's expecting fish to be in the bucket. As the time he... Xiangxi, thank you so much for the follow. That's great. I love to hear that noise. Oh, Zale. Hello, Zale. I'm glad you can make it. Oh, you're surprised somebody pronounced that right? I'm actually very good at foreign languages, but I don't mean to toot my own horn. I've studied quite a bit of foreign language in my life, so I can usually get them right. I'm glad I got that right that time, though. I was a little worried. At the time, he weighed only 132 pounds. Oh my gosh, for a seal, that's nothing compared to the standard 550 pounds. Today, Yul Lang is energetic and enthusiastic, especially when it comes to his husbandry, training, and environmental enrichment, according to the sanctuary. The birthday cake is made of layers of colored ice, with a few fish stuck on the top, personally made by the sanctuary. Take a look at this. Take a look at this seal cake. That guy looks so happy to have his fish. I mean, you know, what does everyone, you know, what does anyone in the world really want but fish in their ice, right? I mean, that's all you could ever ask for. It has become a tradition to make a birthday cake for our resident seals as a special treat, a sanctuary spokesperson, Kaylee Slowey, told GNN. And it wouldn't be a Lang's birthday celebration without a snooze on top of his cake after all the excitement. And here's the boy, completely lost after eating all those fish, completely just let himself fall asleep on his cake. What a place to be, though, to be a seal on top of a cake. Certainly, you couldn't ask for much more in this world. Zoned right out, it's true. The sanctuary in southwest England, run by the non-profit Sea Life Trust, accepts donations, and you can sponsor or adopt one of their animals if you'd like to contribute. He's only sleeping on it so no one else gets a slice. It's true, that's a pretty hard cake to slice as well, so he's making sure no one gets a try at it. Only he. Only he. Let's see, this hydrogen thing is actually a little long, so let's see how much we get through. Making clean hydrogen energy is hard, but researchers have solved a major hurdle. For decades, researchers around the world have searched for ways to use solar power to generate the key reaction for producing hydrogen as a clean energy source, splitting water molecules to form hydrogen and oxygen. However, such efforts have mostly failed because doing it well was too costly, and trying to do it at a low cost led to poor performance. Now researchers from the University of Texas at Austin have found a low-cost way to solve one half of the equation. Using sunlight to efficiently split off oxygen molecules from water. The finding, published recently in Nature Communications, represents a step forward toward greater adoption of hydrogen as a key part of our energy infrastructure. As early as the 1970s, researchers were investigating the possibility of using solar energy to generate hydrogen, but the inability to find materials with the combination of properties needed for a device that can perform the key chemical reactions. Third Tech Games is now hosting with 1 viewer as well. That's mighty kind of you. Thank you very much. But the inability to find materials with the right combinations of properties needed for a device that can perform the key chemical reactions efficiently has kept it from becoming a mainstream method. The key to this breakthrough came through a method of creating electrically conductive paths through a thick silicon dioxide layer that can be performed at low cost and scale to high manufacturing volumes. To get there, Yu and his team, Yu being one of the researchers, used a technique first deployed in the manufacturing of semiconductor electronic chips. Oh wow. By coating the silicon dioxide layer with a thin film of aluminum and then heating the entire structure, arrays of nanoscale spikes of aluminum that completely bridge the silicon dioxide layer are formed. These can then easily be replaced by nickel or other materials that help catalyze the water splitting reactions. When illuminated by sunlight, the devices can efficiently oxidize water to form oxygen molecules, while also generating hydrogen at a separate electrode and exhibit outstanding stability under extended operation. Because the techniques employed to create these devices are commonly used in manufacturing of semiconductor electronics, they should be easy to scale for mass production. And here's what this sort of looks like, in case you're interested. It's very curious. It looks like a candle being held upside down over a vacuum tube and some kind of fairy light, some kind of light design, and then some sort of jet engine shooting light at it, you know what I mean? This is the sort of stuff where you're like, oh, it's science, you know? I don't understand it, but I know it's science. You assume it does something, which I'm sure it does. Lovely stuff right there. The team has filed a provisional patent application to commercialize the technology. Improving the way hydrogen is generated is key to its emergence as a viable fuel source. Most hydrogen production today occurs through heating steam and methane, but that relies heavily on fossil fuels and produces carbon emissions. There is a push toward green hydrogen, which uses more environmentally friendly methods to generate hydrogen, and simplifying the water splitting reaction is a key part of that effort. Going forward, the team, which includes Professor Li Ji at Fudan University, will work to improve the efficiency of the oxygen portion of water splitting by increasing the reaction rate. The researchers' next major challenge is then to move on to the other half of the equation. That's a pretty good one. A little too technical for me, to be honest with you, but not so bad. Oh, here's a good one. Australia returns huge Daintree rainforest to its Aboriginal owners, bordering on the Great Barrier Reef. And this is a beautiful sight right here. This is from October the 3rd. Over 600 square miles of ancient rainforest with rivers, waterfalls, gorges, and white sandy beaches was handed back to the traditional people who had lived here for generations. The historic announcement last week came from officials in Queensland, Australia, who transferred management of the world-famous Daintree National Park to the Eastern Kuku-Yalanji people, who are one of the world's oldest living cultures. This agreement recognizes their right to own and manage their country, to protect their culture, and to share it with visitors as they become leaders in the tourism industry, said Environment Minister Megan Scanlon. Negotiations over the last 4 years determined that the world-renowned Daintree Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Area, will eventually be solely and wholly managed by the Eastern Kuku Yalanchi. For now, the agreement transfers responsibility for management of Daintree's 160,000 hectares, with 3 other national parks, the Ngalba Bulal, Kalkajaka, and the Hope Islands National Parks, to be jointly managed with the Queensland government. Today's handback marks the government returning more than 3.8 million hectares of land back to traditional owners on Cape York, with 2.3 million hectares to be jointly managed by our rangers and the community, said Minister Scanlon in a statement. It means there are now 32 Aboriginal-owned and jointly managed nations and parks on the Cape York Peninsula. The goal is to provide opportunities for mentoring, training, apprenticeships, work experience, and employment to fill positions for land and sea management, hospitality, tourism, and research. Here's another good one right here. It is actually a very Amazonian, very inspiring looking place, isn't it? Very misty right there, very cloudy. The Daintree borders the Great Barrier Reef, so it's one of Australia's top tourist destinations. We will also provide funds to develop a tourism hub at Dubuji, first options for contracting on national parks, first rights to consider new tourism proposals, and endeavor to increase the skills and numbers of Yabalbino indigenous rangers. Scanlon said Australia has an uncomfortable and ugly shared past, and the handback was a key step on the path towards reconciliation. These national parks will protect important Aboriginal cultural sites, diverse ecosystems including rainforests, woodlands, wetlands, and mangroves, and form part of the Wet Tropics World Heritage Area, which is recognized as the second most irreplaceable World Heritage Site on Earth. Well, it's good news for them, isn't it? I know a few people who have Aboriginal origin. Let's see. I used to have a friend named Sergi who was he was actually very Australian. He used a lot of slang words. I don't know if I can repeat any of them, not knowing exactly what they mean, but he was a real fan of slang. Learned quite a bit from him when it comes to that. So here's another one. This is a quick one because I actually have to go to the bathroom, but then after that, I'll show you guys my awesome animal videos. 5 Midwestern governors sign up to create EV charging network to keep electric vehicles moving. You know, I said I would go after this, but the time has come to go right now, so I will be right back, folks. Sorry about that. Usually I wait, but the old bladder's not as strong today as it usually is, so I'll be back in just a moment. Oh my lord. Man, that tea went straight through me today. But here we are again, back at it. Governors from the neighboring states of Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin signed an agreement Friday to collaborate on an EV charging network across the Midwest to support electric car sales, reduce harmful emissions, and protect public health. It's shocking how dirty your glasses can get in the course of a few hours. Oh, gosh. The bipartisan partnership called REV Midwest, the Regional Electric Vehicle Midwest Coalition, also hopes to ensure the entire Midwest region is able to effectively compete for new private investment and federal funding for vehicle electrification. The Midwest has the ingenuity and the drive to develop innovative solutions to curb climate change, said Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Good for you, Tim. Building on the automotive history of expertise in the Great Lakes region, REV Midwest members will coordinate to improve access to charging infrastructure and reduce range anxiety by coordinating to optimize charging infrastructure, cooperate on best practices, and support standardization. An estimated 105,000 new jobs in the utility sector are anticipated to be needed to deploy EV charging infrastructure by 2030. The states will work together with industry to understand future workforce needs and support workforce training programs to build the transportation system of the future. The network will initially focus on interstate and regionally significant commercial corridors and creating publicly accessible charging opportunities on interstate freeways. It also focuses on serving MHDV, medium heavy-duty vehicles, to leverage its existing role as a shipping and logistics hub. One benefit of the initial focus on MHDVs will be to reduce pollution in communities located near freight and shipping facilities and along transportation corridors, where nearby communities are harmed by emissions. Illinois' Climate and Equitable Jobs Act puts us on track to be the best state in the nation to manufacture and drive an electric vehicle. But we're just getting started, and the work doesn't stop at our state borders, said Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. By working together with our Midwestern neighbors, we can accelerate the region's growth. Absolutely lovely. So, I have said some good news, which, a half hour of that's a good place to start. But today, I actually have some awesome animal pictures for you guys, and some of you who are in chat or who are in the Discord have already seen them, so they won't be a surprise for you. But I have a video especially made from my time at the animal shelter nearby. Let's see, are my glasses any cleaner than before? They are. Good. So here is the first one. And that is Layla. I remember what you were saying, Shale, about my hand. So hopefully this fulfills a piece of what you were talking about. Layla is apparently a Russian ragdoll, as she was telling me. And she has the most beautiful yellow eyes. I'm actually quite happy to talk about her because she was very gentle, even though she started doing that little growl at the end to know that. I wish she's looking at my finger. I can't believe that. Very good girl. And there's Gidget. He also has amazing, this spotted halos of light around the center of his brown eyes. Such a striking and daring look there. He's got. See, this is my favorite one, I think. Just him being happy and enjoying getting pet under his chin. And there's Pancake, which I only have a few of Pancake because they were so, they were very, not as social as Gidget. They seem to be a little bit antisocial by comparison. And then I have one more for you guys, which is an actual video of me in real life, but you don't see any face, just to warn you ahead of time. And you'll see Gidget gets really excited, which they were doing the whole time I was there. And they were jumping up on me, but they weren't doing it whenever the camera was on. But I did catch them this one time. You can see my shoes.
Oh,
I can't believe
what a good boy. What a good boy. Too good.
Gosh, so sweet. I've been looking at pictures of them throughout the day, excuse me. Really are the sweetest animals I've met in a while. But that's the animal front of our episode so far. So our next good news story is how planets may be seeded with the chemicals necessary for life. It's one of those stories about how it's not completely clear to us yet, right, how life forms on other planets, but this is one of those things where we're learning a little bit more each time. The analysis of unique fingerprints in light emitted from material surrounding young stars revealed significant reservoirs of large organic molecules necessary to form the basis of life. Dr. John Eiley, research fellow at the University of Leeds, who led the study, says the findings suggest that the basic chemical conditions that resulted in life on Earth could exist more widely across the galaxy. A large organic molecule has been identified in protoplanetary disks circling newly formed stars. A similar disk would have once surrounded the young sun, forming the planets that now make up our solar system. The presence of the molecules is significant because they are stepping stones between simpler carbon-based molecules, such as carbon monoxide, found in abundance in space, and more complex molecules that are required to create and sustain life. This is actually a really long story, so I'm not going to read all of it. Because we have quite a bit of news to get through. These large, complex organic molecules are found in various environments throughout space. Laboratory and theoretical studies have suggested that these molecules are the raw ingredients for building molecules that are essential components in biological chemistry on Earth, creating sugars, amino acids, and even the components of ribonucleic acid under the right conditions. However, many of the environments where we find these complex organic molecules are pretty far removed from where and when we think planets form. We wanted to understand more about where exactly and how much of these molecules were present in the birthplaces of planets, the protoplanetary disks. Well, lovely. Here's a good one. Why do animals play? Because they need to play, just like children do. Photo by Jambaka the jaguar, or Tobacco. As much as it's time for growing and learning, childhood is also a time for unabashed joy. Pastimes like careening down a snowy hillside on your sled, flying off a rope swing into a cool lake on a hot summer day, or even just a game of catch are part and a parcel of growing up. But the joys of playtime aren't just reserved for human kids. Animal offspring are just as likely to get into the act as well, and some of their activities are startlingly similar to our own. Young ravens hold body surfing competitions down the slopes of wintry rooftops. It's interesting. Juvenile elephants create impromptu water slides along muddy riverbanks. Herring gulls engage in their own version of airborne hacky sack, substituting seashells for bean-filled projectiles. Scientists believe that for certain animal species, some fun in games is strictly that, play for the sake of play. But as with humans, other forms of diversion are preparing youngsters for the rigors of adulthood. Play is essential in development because it contributes to the cognitive, physical, social, and emotional well-being of children and youth, wrote Kenneth R. Ginsburg in the American Journal of Pediatrics. Play also offers an ideal opportunity for parents to engage fully with their children. Those same tenets, it seems, hold true in the animal kingdom as well. Horses are known to engage in play almost as soon as they are born. Once they can walk, they immediately start to gallop, frolic, and buck, again honing the motor skills they may need when they're mature, notes BBC Earth. But along with social and motor skills, play also teaches animals essential hunting and survival skills. And here's an image of a cat. A cat that has been caught mid-stretch or mid-frolic or mid-sliding around. Not sure which. It's one of those, though. While the antics of cute cavorting kittens is the stuff that spawned a myriad of viral videos, whether it's an opportunity to take down an errant mouse or to avoid harm in the face of unexpected danger, their ninja-like antics may in fact be helping kittens learn to be ready when life hands them a surprise. Even natural-born predators, such as kestrels, used to play to hone their hunting skills by practicing with targets that look like real prey when they're young. In the oceans, dolphins chase underwater air rings to fine-tune their sonar skills. And while it's unclear why bear cubs are so quintessentially playful, zoologists believe at least some of their shenanigans have a more serious purpose that aids in their survival as adults. Yeah, I've heard that baby bears are extremely playful, which is dangerous because if you get too close to them, then their moms are not going to be happy with you. One of the most important teaching aspects of play is socialization. These days, for human kids, that usually means the basics like learning to share, teamwork, and knowing boundaries. For animals, especially those that live in packs, flocks, or herds, play, often in the form of play fighting, imparts an understanding of where each animal fits in the community hierarchy. So whether it's frolicking in the pasture, hanging from a tree, or rollicking in the surf, it seems that play will always be an intrinsic and fun part of both human and animal development. And we're pretty sure when those Ninja Kitten TikTok stars stop climbing that curtain, they'll be thrilled to hear about it. Oh, great. Another one. Oh, here's another dog one. A dog that was stuck in a 30-foot deep cavern for 2 weeks is rescued and joyfully reunited. 2 weeks in a cavern, my gosh. The dramatic footage shows the heroic rescue and reunion of Dewey, the dog trapped at the bottom of a 30-foot deep cave for over 2 weeks. Elizabeth Acosta filmed the operation as rescuers climbed into the huge cave to save the emaciated pup. The rescue team, led by experienced caver Trey Hank, were actually trying to locate the perfect spot for a member of the group to propose to his partner when they spotted the pup. Sharp-eyed hero Josiah Meert saw movement at the bottom of the 30-foot deep pit at Dewey Hickman Nature Reserve, Indiana, and realized it was a dog. The group put aside their plans and raced off to grab ropes, helmets, and harnesses, and with teamwork and determination, Dewey was freed in only 30 minutes. Trey said, "We spotted his collar about 15 feet down, surrounded by claw marks. He then withstood another 15-foot drop to the floor of the pit. He'd lost about 86 pounds. We firmly believe that had he been in the pit only a few more days, he wouldn't have been able to have been rescued. Everything depended on the outcome of the rescue, so once he was safe and given a bite to eat, Sean popped the question, and she said yes." You could hear the cheers a mile away. Trey Hanks' reunion footage shows the incredible moment the pup was reunited with his relieved owners. Dewey, initially nicknamed after he was found, excitedly runs over to his family, who are delighted to be back with their loving pet, actually named Hawkeye. His owners confirmed that he was lost just over 2 weeks before his rescue. Trey added, "Getting Hawkeye out of the cave was huge, but finding his owner and reuniting them so quickly was the icing on the cake." The power of social media. We didn't expect a quick reunion. However, within 2 days of finding him, we'd connected with his owners and made arrangements to meet. I think this nightmare could have been avoided had Hawkeye been neutered. He blindly followed a female's scent into the wilderness. Animal instincts aren't always the best. The quick rescue and reunion were also very lucky, so it's best to leave situations like this to experienced professionals. If one of us had fallen into, we would have been in for some real trouble. We're all very proud to be part of the story. The world could use some good news right now, and that's certainly true. I'm going to take a quick look at this video so I don't show you guys anything that you shouldn't be seeing. Yeah, it's okay. It's all good. Okay. So, that's the spot that he was trapped in. That's an awful place to be stuck. Look at the ropes, though. They've got the ropes all set up. Yeah, animals, they don't always make the right decisions when they're, like, in heat or something, which I haven't been around very many animals that were in heat, so I'm not quite sure what that's like for them, but oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I just burped. That came out of nowhere. Oh, there he is, there's the boy. The boy escaped. He's a thin sausage right now, but he can be plumped up. Just give him some time. Oh, look at that. Lovely. That's another good one. Let's see how long this one is. A lot of these environmental ones are a little longer than I'd prefer, actually. Let's see what the other one looks like right here. Yeah, no, enough about Ford for now. Dogs catch actual chemical cues from humans that transmit excitement, fear, or angst to the pups. Dog owners might tell you their dog understands them better than most people. What they don't know is the dog understands them probably better than they even ever have realized. Researchers studying canine human connections have found dogs can catch human emotions, and like children, dogs often look into their owners' faces for clues about how to react to people and the world around them. A primitive form of empathy known as emotional contagion. I didn't know that. They also experience the release of oxytocin, one of the feel-good hormones typically of human bonding. For years, it was assumed these developed as an evolutionary necessity, as disagreeable dogs from the time of their genesis from wolves would be selected against by their new masters. But the reality is much more heartwarming than our furry friends bowing to the whims of simple biological imperatives. Many factors influence the connection between dog and their owners, such as neuronal activity in the pooch's brain and even changes in human body odor. In a study published this year, it was found that pet dogs and pack-living dogs and wolves had physiological differences when interacting with closely bonded humans. The pets released oxytocin, while the pack-living dogs and pack-living wolves did not, even though it was clear they preferred to be with their bonded human, which the researchers suggest means that it's life experience, not breed, that causes this special connection. Furthermore, some dogs share not only our joy, but our fear as well. Looking at concentrations of cortisol, the stress hormone, another group of researchers found that compared with solitary hunting and ancient wolf-like breeds, herding dogs, cortisol concentrations were correlated with those of their owners. It has also been observed that dogs react the same way we do when encountering a crying infant. Oh my gosh! That is the first time anyone has subscribed to this channel, and we finally heard the subscription noise. After 51 weeks, we got our first sub. Anna, thank you so much. You're a real treat. I'm so grateful for that. I wasn't sure when I was going to hear that noise, but you guys have heard it finally, so it's out there. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for the tier 1 sub. That's fantastic. That's just made my night, actually. Glad to see you as well. I know, finally, we got some. It's great. The first badge. You do have the first badge. You're the founder. You're the founder. Do you have the... You're the founder. Wow. With a mix of submissiveness and alertness, and one study even demonstrated that dogs can synchronize their behavior on the basis of a whopping 6 human faces: anger, fear, happiness, sadness, surprise, and disgust. Oh, Anna, if you're available after this stream, we should hang out for a little bit. I think that'd be fun. I can thank you a little more personally for your sub. I think that'd be great fun. An article in National Geographic details how it could very well swing both ways, as even though dogs' emotional capacities aren't as complex as ours, their rawness in theory could rub off on us. I do think we pick up their emotions too. Mark Bekoff, an evolutionary biologist at University of Colorado, told Nat Geo, sometimes it's easier to pick up their fear and stress. However, happy dogs are also easy to read if they run up to you with their tails wagging, and their ears are forward, not turned back. Cascading effects of joy and stress are plain to see in the world of dog owners. If a dog lunges or growls at something, it can stress or embarrass the owner, signals the dog picks up on, accentuating the stressful encounter. On the other side of the spectrum, dear friends greeted at the door with kind words can excite the dog, leaping up on the guest's legs, despite being trained not to. I think Gidget would do that for sure. Sharing a life and home with dogs for tens of thousands of years has created an intimate connection between our species, man's best friend, as they say, an interdependency that has allowed both of us to flourish far more than we could alone. I really like that one, actually. That was a great one. And we're going to do one more before our break, probably. White noise of flickering screens helps children with learning difficulties to read and write better, says a study. Previous studies have shown that children with attention difficulties, including ADHD, solve cognitive tasks better when they are exposed to auditory white noise. However, this is the first time that such a link has been demonstrated between visual white noise and cognitive abilities, such as memory reading and non-word decoding in children with reading and writing difficulties. The white noise to which we expose the children, also called the visual pixel noise, can be compared with giving children glasses. The effect on reading and memory was immediate, explains Goran Söderlund, senior lecturer in education at the University of Gothenburg and professor of special education at the Western Norway University of Applied Sciences. Gosh, that's a long title. The study was conducted on around 80 students in the Småland region of southern Sweden. The children who took part were selected following a word recognition test and were split into 3 groups: good readers, children with some reading difficulties, and children with major reading difficulties, i.e. having phonological impairments. In the study, the children were asked to read 12 words while being exposed to 4 different levels of visual white noise, from 0 to high. The test involved assessing how many of the words the children could read correctly and how many words they were able to recall afterwards. The results showed that the group with major reading difficulties, particularly phonological difficulties, performed significantly better when exposed to visual pixel noise. They read words more correctly and also recalled more words in the moderate noise conditions. The white noise had no effect on negative effects on the good readers and those with only minor reading problems. This is the first evidence of visual white noise having effects on higher level cognition, in this case both reading and memory, says Goran Söderlund. The children in the study, published in the scientific journal Brain and Behavior, were exposed to different levels of white noise, but the results showing the amount of white noise is critical for reading and memory. You can compare it with being short-sighted and needing glasses. We saw that we exposed children to a medium level of white noise, the reading improved. However, their reading skills were less good when there was no noise or a high level of noise at Goran. These results show that children with reading and writing difficulties can be helped with an incredibly simple intervention. By adjusting screens in school or at home, we hope to be able to resolve their problems at a stroke. This is the study of its kind, the first study of its kind, and replications are needed. Goran Söderlund now wants to further investigate the effects of white noise. He hopes that new studies can answer the question of whether practicing with white noise for a prolonged period can lead to lasting improvements. It's worth exploring, as we just don't know. This first study of ours is basic research, but our results show that the children improved immediately, so it's important to continue with new studies to establish whether this simple measure can provide everyone with their own laptop, will actually provide enduring help for these children. So I like that one. I probably could have used that when I was in school, because I did have a lot of trouble reading. I still have trouble reading to this day, but I'm, of course, a lot better than I used to be, considering I am able to do all this. But this has been a very eventful day so far. We're going to go on our 5-minute break now. So what that means is at the halfway point of the show, we stand up and stretch and make ourselves comfy and ready so that we can come on back in 5 minutes and relax, just like get all that rust and the cobwebs out. And so go stand up and stretch, get some food, some water, and then come on back in 5 minutes, because that's what I'm going to do. Be right back. And we're back. That wasn't exactly 5 minutes, but you know, no one's counting, luckily. No one's counting. I hope you guys enjoyed whatever little breaks you might have given yourselves. WC. Okay, WB. I was like, what is WC? Thank you. Thank you very much, though. The world's tallest observation wheel is opening bartenders mixed drinks while you ride. Oh my gosh, that sounds a little dangerous, I guess, right? I don't know. I don't know about that one. But I guess we're going to read it. This is from October the 5th by Judy Cole. And of course, Dubai is the place to do this, right? Of course, it's Dubai. Las Vegas, long known as a city of high rollers, has held the distinction of being home to the world's largest Ferris wheel, aptly named what else? The High Roller, since 2014. But with Dubai's luxury, Ain Dubai, translated from Arabic as Dubai Eye, Ferris wheel set for its grand opening this month, the American casino capital's title has just been eclipsed. Standing at a massive 820 feet high, my gosh, Ain Dubai can accommodate up to 1,750 passengers in its 48 bespoke air-conditioned cabins. Wow. For the ultimate in socially distanced dining, those interested can indulge in a VIP option that includes catered meal service and a private bartender to mix up their designer cocktails of choice for the 38-minute scenic circular sojourn. I don't know why Dubai has to like push the limits so hard on everything. They're really extra, in my opinion. The Ferris wheel has certainly evolved since George Washington Gale Ferris Jr.'s, of course his name was Ferris, original contraption with its gravity-oriented gondolas made its debut at the Chicago World's Columbian Exhibition in 1893. You think this is what he had in mind? That eventually we would serve private cocktails on Ferris wheels? He couldn't have imagined that it would turn out like that, I'm sure. He couldn't have imagined that. It's not bad, I would say, but man. Pretty soon, and this is just a guess, I think that Ferris wheels will become magnetic, meaning that there's actually no rails attached to the Ferris wheel gondolas. They'll just be like hanging there perfectly still and almost as if floating on air, right? Magnetic suspension, that's the future. I don't know when we're going to get there, though. Ain Dubai's ticket prices start at $35 for a basic Big Thrills, no frills ride. However, in addition to the VIP upgrade, the private cabins can also be booked for corporate events, weddings, birthdays, and intimate celebrations. So if declaring your undying love in concert with commanding views of the sunset as you and your honey soar above the hubbub sounds like the perfect venue for a romantic proposal, as long as neither of you are afraid of heights, this eye in the sky might just be the wheel deal. Oh, these puns always make me feel too cheesy to read them. I guess I'm a cheesy guy these days, though, as my friends have told me. But that's alright. Okay, we've got another good one. We'll read maybe two more, and then we'll get into the videos, which I think we're going to do guinea pigs today. I think we're going to do guinea pigs in today's episode. I think a couple of us are going to be real happy about that as well. Did I invite Rain to join? Did I invite Rain? I didn't. I'll do that now. There's just so many people to look at. Sometimes you don't get to invite all of them. Company innovates microplastics that are biodegradable or don't break apart at all. A UK-French startup just announced a $17 million funding round to make a variety of products that will allow large producers to cut out their share of microplastic pollution. With biodegradable microplastic capsules for products like laundry detergent and agriculture, chemicals, and special lubricants that prevent plastic from breaking down into microplastics, the firm could save companies and consumers tens of millions in workaround costs and higher prices in the face of an upcoming European Union ban on microplastics in 2022. Calixia was started in part by the son of a second-generation UK coal miner, Jamie Walters. Seeing the coal mine close down, while good for the physical health of the community and the planet, involved Walters seeing a lot of economic suffering. So living that experience, I've always wanted to rebuild industries because I believe they can rebuild communities that are safe, that are sustainable and could advance in society, and that are also economically viable, Walters told Fast Company. Some examples of industries Walters hopes to reform are the microplastic capsules used in laundry detergent to deliver the fragrance into your clothes. These capsules run down the water treatment plants and into aquatic ecosystems. Agricultural herbicide products sometimes also come in these capsules. They release the product slowly, necessitating for less overall herbicide use, but the small microplastics fall down and end up contaminating the soil. Calixia offers biodegradable microplastic capsules for products such as these that essentially degrade into air. Another product is a lubricant that can be used to coat the most common form of plastics, polyethylene plastic sheeting used to press wrap products. The lubricant stops the plastic breaking apart in the environment, preventing it from releasing toxic microplastics that have contaminated essentially the entire planet. Currently poised to produce hundreds of tons of their products, they hope to begin work as soon as possible with large companies before the microplastic ban in 2022, after which they plan to scale up to thousands of tons of production. Glad to hear it. Oh, also, Anna, if you're still here, I have very good news to tell you as well if you are available to speak after the stream. I think you'll be glad to hear it. Here's another one. The stream ends in about an hour, maybe a little less than an hour. But you might be, yes, for sure, go ahead, glad to hear it. Man saved by CPR. Oh, you know what, this isn't quite right. This isn't quite right for us. Here's a good one. Full battery charge in 15 minutes. World's fastest electric car charger is launched. This is by Good News Network from October the 6th, so very recently. ABB has launched an innovative all-in-one electric vehicle charger, which provides the fastest charging experience on the world market. The new Terra 360 is a modular charger, which can simultaneously charge up to 4 vehicles. My gosh, it's got 4 pump hoses on it. Look, it's just like any other thing where it's like, oh, I'm just going to the gas station, gonna get some gas. But then you plug it right into your car. It's like, oh, it's not gas, it's electricity, completely clean. And then, you know, before you know it, 15 minutes have passed, you get some coffee, you listen to the stream maybe, and then 15 minutes later, you walk up to your car and like, oh, no gas. And then you put the thing back onto the pylon and you're done. Don't mind me taking shots at gas stations, but I just love this idea of everything being so clean and safe. It's just great for me. This means that drivers will not have to wait if somebody else is already charging ahead of them. They simply pull up to another plug. Marvelous. The new charger has a maximum output of 360 kilowatts and is capable of fully charging any electric car in 15 minutes or less. Wow, any car, meeting the needs of a variety of EV users. Whether they need a fast charge or to top their battery up while grocery shopping. with governments around the world writing public policy that favors electric vehicles and charging networks to combat climate change, the demand for EV charging infrastructure, especially charging stations that are fast, convenient, and easy to operate, is higher than ever, said Frank Wilhan, president of ABB's e-mobility division. The Terra 360, with charging options that fit a variety of needs, is the key to fulfilling that demand and accelerating e-mobility adoption globally. Gosh, it's an exciting day for ABB, who, as the global leader in electric vehicle fast charging, is playing a key role in enabling a low-carbon society, said Theodore Switchmock, Chief Communications and Sustainability Officer at ABB, in a statement. With road transport accounting for nearly a fifth of global CO2 emissions, e-mobility is critical to achieving the Paris climate goal. We will also lead by example by switching our entire fleet of more than 10,000 vehicles to non-emitting vehicles. Lovely. Available in Europe from the end of 2021, in the USA, Latin America, and Asia Pacific regions in 2022, Terra 360 is designed with the daily needs and expectations of EV drivers in mind. Something also about this, it's very nice to imagine a clean and clear and crisp, un-oil contaminated place to just drive up to. And whether you worry about this or not, maybe me not so much, but some people sure, there's always a fear of like what happens if something goes terribly wrong and the oil has a problem and you are in danger because of it. Certainly this would never happen here. I mean, essentially it's just a big old wire running under the ground that charges, and then you just place probably just a giant like USB into your car, basically. USB lightning, and it just charges it, and then you just unplug it and then put it back in the socket. That's great. That's just so great. I'll probably be like in my 30s before I get to really use or see one, but I mean, that's the future right there. That's the future. It's absolutely excellent. Its innovative lighting system guides the user through the charging process and shows the state of charge of the EV battery and the residual time before the end of an optimal charge session. The world's fastest EV charger is also wheelchair accessible and features an ergonomic cable management system that helps drivers plug in quickly with minimal effort, as well as serving the needs of private EV drivers at fueling stations, convenience stores, and retail locations. Terra 360 chargers can also be installed on an organization's commercial premises to charge electric fleet cars, vans, and trucks. This gives owners the flexibility to charge up to 4 vehicles overnight or to give a quick refill to their EVs in the day. Because Terra 360 charges have a small footprint, they can be installed in small depots or parking lots where space is at a premium. Terra 360 chargers are fully customizable. To personalize the appearance, customers can brand the chargers by using different foiling or changing the color of the LED light strips. There is also an option to include an integrated 27-inch advertisement screen to play video and pictures. My gosh, they thought of everything. ABB entered the e-mobility market back in 2010 and today has sold more than 460,000 electric vehicle chargers across more than 88 markets. The promise of unprecedented charging speed on the near horizon makes the heralding of a real electric car revolution feel that much closer. So here's a video of just that. They're like, it's so fancy, you know what I mean? You've got this sort of a sleek and future cyberpunk idea of like this charger that you just drive up to, and I mean, in the future, right, it will be even more simple than this. Literally, you'll drive up to a station, and then it'll just shoot energy through your tires, and then it'll take like less than a minute, and then you'll just drive off. You won't even have to get out of your car. And that's the future. This is the close future. That's the far future, but my gosh. I mean, we're already this close, right? We're already this close. Look at that thing. That's great. That's great. So it is time for some animal videos. So this is one of my favorite segments of the stream. We are going to take a small departure from our little ambience here in the attic, in the second floor, whatever you want to call this, and we're going to look at some dodo videos of guinea pigs. Don't mind the videos that show up on my screen. Aw. Oh no. Guinea pig on the street. Somebody brought us a guinea pig. None of us have ever rescued guinea pigs before yet. I've never heard of a guinea pig rescue before. Oh, look at them. Oh. Look at them. They need help. That pig needs to get out of there quick. Oh, there he goes. You had to flush him out. Oh. Oh, look, they got him. They got him. Oh, look at that little potato. Oh, they got him. In the net. There's a third one? Oh no, look at that. There's 3 of them. Oh my gosh. Oh, that guinea pig popcorned out of there as fast as they could, but they're safe. They need to see a vet, but they're going to be safe. Is one of them pregnant? Oh, Mama Romaine is very pregnant. Oh my gosh. 3 babus. Oh my gosh. She's going to be giving birth soon, before she had a family. Oh, look at those 3 precious little beans. More pigs for the world. What a lovely ever after they had. Oh, safe in their little pig pocket. Oh, even they have the pig pockets. That's lovely. Gosh, look at them all go. Look at that mom. She's big. The mom is big. She's the size of an actual potato. Oh, grow up safe and sound. Oh, look at that. They all made it. Yeah, they all made it. All of them made it just fine. That rescue guinea pig has the best wardrobe. Here's a good one. Oh my gosh, look at the clothes they wear. A tuxedo on a guinea pig. I have never seen that before. My gosh. Oh my gosh. Grand Rapids pet area. He was being given away for free? Oh my gosh. Oh. He looks so fluffy. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, wow, what a difficult life. They've led such a difficult life. You have their Mortimer pins? Oh. Gina, that's lovely that you have a connection to this. I've only just seen this now, but look at him. He's working his way through it. His toes are always dirty. It's very messy. Unfortunately, blind animals, they usually walk through a ton of stuff at once. They do get really dirty really easily. Oh, the hair dry on the boy. Yeah, they need to have friends. Aww. More lethal whites needed a place to live. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Look at them. They're like a stack of pigs. Aww. Aww. They look so comfy. You know, they do look like they're very trusting when they have all their eyes closed. They do look very trusting. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh. Aww. No. Gosh. Oh my gosh, he needs his butternut squash, huh? If you put mango in his food, he'll turn his butt to it and not eat it at all. Oh my gosh, turns his butt to the food. Aw. Aw. That's fantastic. A pit bull dog wins over her guinea pig sisters. Oh my gosh, here we go. Aw, what a cutie. Aw. Beware, guinea pig. I love that sign. Aw. Oh, bring up the guinea pigs on the floor. Aw. Look at that. They're all getting along. Look, that's a big guinea pig, my gosh. Aww. They're doing a kiss communication. Aww. You know, I've always thought that guinea pigs remind me of tribbles from from Star Trek. They always remind me of tribbles. I think they're cuter though because they have actual faces and like eyes. Tribbles are kind of just like this, just balls of fur that are constantly trying to reproduce. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these things are unstoppable. But guinea pigs, you know, they seem to be much more chill than that. Aw. Oh, look at that. I like how comfy they are with each other. Oh, I love that picture of her laying down and then like one of the pigs is on her stomach. That's precious. That's absolutely precious. They must trust her so much. Yeah, they must trust her so much to be able to do that. Right, because those animals are very suspicious of a... Let's see. We'll do just a few more. Antisocial naked guinea pig finally found his soulmate. Wow, it is a naked guinea pig. Kind of a grumpy old man. He tolerates me. Oh my gosh. The guinea pig that only just barely tolerates his owner. Oh, he looks so scared. It's good to find that they found soulmates for each other, because guinea pigs really, like especially, need to have bonding moments with other creatures. I mean, it doesn't have to be other guinea pigs, of course, but that's like the most natural sounding thing. But like, you know, making them popcorn with excitement. They are super in need of that attention from like a similar creature that's like about their size and can spend time with them. They're like stacking up against each other and stuff too. But they seem to have grown fond of each other at least. Hey, buddy. Snacks shared between a guinea pig and their dog friend. Aww. Aww. A sweater for a guinea pig. Aww, out of old socks. Oh, that's so precious. Old socks for the guinea pig. That way he can know that he can like smell his owners on them too. That's great. Even if a squirrel comes near him, she loses her mind. She's so protective over him. You gotta keep that guinea pig clean. You gotta lick him. It's the only way he'll stay clean. Well, good. So we're gonna go back to our little news for now. I hope you folks enjoyed the guinea pigs, though. We've been getting a lot of guinea pig excitement on the Discord, so it's good to continue to enable more of that behavior. So, here's some more good news. Denmark is cleverly repurposing old wind turbine blades as bike shelters, by Andy Corbley from October the 7th. And here's the image of that. It's a nice look. Looking to combine their passion for cycling and environmentalism, the always eco-thinking Danes are taking their old wind turbine blades and upcycling them into bike shelters. Oh wow, look at that. Looking to combine their... 90% of the population owns a bike. Wow. Furthermore, a third of all Danes ride a bike to work at least one time a week, while a quarter of all trips less than 3.5 miles are made by bike. With so many cyclists, bike lockup shelters are as much needed feature of a Danish city and townscape. Turbine blades must endure serious forces contending with the wind, and the first and second generation turbines featured blades made of advanced composite materials like fiberglass, foams, and resins. This makes them nearly impossible to recycle, and for some years, as early wind turbines are gradually having more and more blades decommissioned, warnings about the impending waste have been growing. Far from the polluting species we were in the past, methods for recycling and unrecyclable blades from wind turbines are already being hypothesized by scientists and advocates like those at Wind Network, who see the approaching 40 million tons of unrecyclable turbine blades as an opportunity. This advocacy group has published papers in several journals looking at how the rigid blades can successfully be deployed in a wide variety of construction and infrastructure projects, from the aforementioned bike shelters, which they constructed in Aalborg, to structural reinforcement, pedestrian footbridges, and traffic guardrails. Oh, Rissy, hello. I'm so glad you could make it. I was so happy to see you doing your Beat Saber earlier today. You went for almost 35 minutes. That was crazy. You beat your old time by like almost half as much more time as before. I hope that you're doing well though. In one instance, they found a 100-meter wind turbine blade could be used as roofing material for a 40-square-meter home. In another, they found that a C96 wind turbine blade's resistance to torsion, shear, bend, and other effects from ice, extreme wind, fire, and vehicular collision meet the safety requirements for a power line support pole. That's thinking with your dipstick right there, that's what that is. Siemens Gamesa, a major international supplier of wind turbines, have announced their new blades will be fully recyclable. The time to tackle climate change emergency is now, and we need to do it in a holistic way. In pioneering wind circulatory, where elements contribute to a circular economy of the wind industry, we've reached a major milestone in a society that puts care for the environment at its heart, states Andreas Nouwen, CEO of Siemens Gamesa. Evidently, the need for groups like Wind Network will be limited, but it's a testament to the growing maturity of society at large that just because something is new and innovative, the impact it has on the environment will surely be measured. Lovely. Okay, this one's really crazy. This is the craziest one we've seen yet. Solar-powered desalination device will turn seawater into fresh water for 400,000 people, by Andy Corbley from October the 7th. When someone invests a mass desalination plant to turn seawater into normal water without polluting the area, it will be a massive achievement, as only 3% of the water on Earth is fresh. Solar Water Solutions, SWS, a Finnish water technology company, has come as close as anyone to being able to offer the world essentially unlimited fresh water through its unique zero emissions, zero running cost, and non-polluting desalination technology. Now it's being deployed thanks to backing from the Dutch group Climate Fund managers in Kitui County, Kenya, as part of a long-term goal to provide water for 400,000 rural Kenyans by 2023. That is fantastic, man. That's fantastic. Wow, desalination is coming a long way, isn't it? SWS has packed up their desalination plant into a shipping container, making it easier and more efficient to ship 200 units to the shores of Kitui, where the technology will convert between 4,000 and 7,000 liters per hour from seawater or 10,000 liters per hour from brackish water powered entirely by solar panels. This is next level stuff right here. This is fantastic. Through this partnership with CFM and locally with Kitui County, we can together revolutionize access to safe, affordable water in rural Kenya, said Antti Pachola, CEO of Solar Water Solutions. This project marks a breakthrough in solar-powered water infrastructure. SWS uses reverse osmosis, a method that, while effective, has been shown to be both dangerous to human and natural environments. One critical review in 2007 detailed that reverse osmosis membranes are susceptible to fouling and scaling must be cleaned with chemicals that may be toxic to receiving waters. The byproduct is often contaminated brine twice as strong as regular seawater that is deadly to plant matter in the area. SWS have designed their product to require very little maintenance, and provided the byproduct brine is disposed of properly, no eco-damage should occur through the desalination process. Here is a video of all this going on. Solar Water Solutions. The future of water. Sorry, I'm making this commercial now. High quality drinking water from seawater up to 10.000 liters per hour. Water like you've never seen it before. From the sea. For rural communities, villages, or hotels and off-grid locations. I mean, this is next level. If this just works the way it's supposed to, you can get water anywhere in the world, right? Just put this on every single island in the entire world, and if someone gets stranded, they get free drinking water. They'll be fine. That's the ultimate goal of this, is to get free drinking water everywhere in the world. That's pretty good, actually, isn't it? That's pretty good. If you had enough materials and water for it, you could make it work. It's pretty good. So we've got a few more stories here before we go back to our animal videos. Another one is, mature trees will increase CO2 absorption by 1/3 in response to raised levels on Earth, study shows, by Good News Network from October the 7th. Mature oak trees will increase their rate of photosynthesis by up to 1/3 in response to the raised CO2 levels expected to be the world average by about 2050, new research shows. The results are the first to emerge from a giant outdoor experiment led by the University of Birmingham, in which an old oak forest is bathed in elevated levels of CO2. This latest study adds to the field that looks at the use forests as effective carbon sinks have, and potentially gives climate researchers a new tool in the fight against climate change. Increased carbon capture. Over the first 3 years of a 10-year project, the 175-year-old oaks clearly responded to the CO2 by consistently increasing their rate of photosynthesis. Researchers are now measuring leaves, wood, roots, and soil to find out where the extra carbon captured ends up and for how long it stays locked in the forest. The increase in photosynthesis was greatest in strong sunlight. The overall balance of key nutrient elements, carbon and nitrogen, did not change in the leaves. Keeping the carbon to nitrogen ratio constant suggests that old trees have found ways of redirecting their elements, or found ways of bringing more nitrogen in from the soil to balance the carbon they're gaining from the air. The research was carried out at the Free Air CO2 Enrichment Facility of the Birmingham Institute of Forest Research, in close collaboration with colleagues from Western Sydney University, who run a very similar experiment in old eucalyptus forests. Bifor Face and Uke Face are the world's largest two largest experiments investigating the effect of global change on nature. Birmingham researcher Anna Gardner, who carried out the measurements, said, "I'm really excited to contribute the first published science results to Bifor Face, an experiment of global importance. It was hard work conducting measurements at the top of a 25-meter oak day after day. That's a lot of tree climbing, but it was the only way to be sure how much extra the trees were photosynthesizing." Professor David Ellsworth, UKFace lead scientist, said, "Previous work at UKFace measured photosynthesis increased by up to a fifth in increased carbon dioxide. So we know how old forests respond in the face of warming temperatures and the climate changing that we have here in Sydney, and the mild temperature and temperate climate of the northern middle latitudes here in Birmingham." Professor Rob McKenzie, found director of Bifor, said of the study published in Tree Physiology, "It's a delight to see the first piece of carbon jigsaw for Bifor Face fall into place." That rhyme, though. "We are sure now that the old trees are responding to future carbon dioxide levels. How the entire forest ecosystem responds is a much bigger question requiring many more detailed investigations. We are now pushing ahead with those investigations." According to The Independent, he stated that this research could help with the forging of effective climate policy. "Our work adds to the small body of research from laboratories in the forest that are essential to guide climate policy." So let's see, our last three of them are pretty short. We can do these. We can knock these out before we run out of time. I also hope that you're doing very well, Rissy. I don't remember if I asked that yet or not. Prison inmates learn to quilt and are now making amazing personalized gifts for foster care children. Been crocheting today. Well, this is right up your alley then. This is very close. And got more yarns. Well, I'm glad you're doing great. While quilting bees generally conjure images of grandmas piecing together scraps of fabric to create family heirlooms for future generations, crafting the colorful, cozy bed covers has become an outlet for incarcerated men, not only to express their creativity, but to give something positive back to the communities from which they came. You know, I think making blankets for foster children and orphans and homeless as well, that's a pretty positive thing to be doing, just handing out blankets to anyone who needs them. Because I think everyone needs a blanket, right? It doesn't matter who you are, you need something to cover yourself with while you sleep. Over the past 10 years, more than 2,000 personalized quilts assembled by the inmates of Missouri South Central Correctional Facility have been donated to children in the state's foster care system or auctioned off to fund local charitable organizations. When I learned that I could be helping by bring a smile to a child's face, I was all in, Fred Brown said in an interview with the Washington Post. "Right now, I'm working on a puppy quilt that will go to a 13-year-old boy. I don't know anything about him, but I have a feeling he's going to love this quilt." Oh, that's very sweet. William White, an upholsterer by trade, felt a special affinity for the project and joined soon after he began serving his sentence in 2015. Oh boy, you and your yarn, Rissy. I'm glad you got more anyways. That reminds me, if you donate an item, forget to wear it, but the yarn store will give me 10% off of yarn. I mean, you buy yarn in bulk, so that's a pretty big deal for you, isn't it? You gotta figure that stuff out, because that yarn's gonna start adding up unless you get that 10% discount. That'll change your life. No joke, with the amount of yarn that you buy, you'll get some good savings from that. Not this yarn. It's yarn like alpaca and full on wool. It's okay. It's okay. I've just seen how many Yodas you've made over the years, and I'm like, I know how much yarn she uses. Along with his other person chores, White volunteers to. You don't know my yarn wall. Your yarn wall. Hey, watch out for the yarn avalanches. You know, you don't want that yarn all falling on you at once. I believe you. I believe you. White volunteers to spend 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, quilting with his peers. These guys were making these beautiful quilts to give away to foster kids, and I knew it was something I wanted to be a part of, he told WAPO. Washington Post. I have 6 kids, and sewing has always been my passion, and now here's a way for me to give back. Based on the precept of restorative justice, which stresses rehabilitation rather than punishment, according to the group's coordinator, case manager Joe Satterfield, keeping the prisoners' minds and hearts engaged while letting them feel like they're making useful contributions to their communities has been a game changer. They're also learning new skills too, even for those who may spend the rest of their lives behind bars. You can see a change in their attitude, Satterfield told NPR's St. Louis affiliate. A light flips on like, oh, this is a new avenue. I can actually be part of something. Knowing firsthand the feeling of being forgotten by society, the inmates who participate in the quilting circle strive to personalize each quilt for foster care kids to let them know someone cares and that they're not throwaways. You have a huge yarn collection. You've also got some moths. Chia, I have a huge amount of moths that show up around the mint plants along with the butterflies. And they come onto my flowers too. I should get pictures of my flowers up on here. I'll do that at some point because they're getting big. They're getting big. You see the names of these kids in foster care. You see a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old, and it kind of breaks your heart. Volunteer Rod Harney, who learned to sew in a 7th grade home economics class, told NPR. But that lets us know we're humans still. You can't express enough how it feels to do it. Even though I'm incarcerated, William White said, I can still do something beautiful. I love that. That's so good. Right? Because these guys, a lot of them, they feel incredibly terrible for the things they've done wrong, and now they can, you know, make this honest homage of penance to society by helping give back. I love that. That's fantastic. This has been some great news this week. It really has been some great news. So here's our last two. Splitty yarn. Oh. Sorry about that, Chia. World's first totally green tractor set to plow down European farming emissions by Andy Corbley from the 8th, so just yesterday. An enormous amount of the world's emissions are generated by our food systems, so an agricultural technology firm in Lithuania moved to tackle the largest definitive source by introducing the family's first totally green tractor. Big engines, massive torque, big heavy tires, and hardly ever leaving third gear means fossil fuels from farm machinery are a massive contributor to agricultural emissions. And AGA, Group's biomethane electric hybrid tractor, will go a long way towards reducing them. AGA. AGA is Europe's largest vertically integrated organic food producer, and the AGA M1 is the first of its kind, designed as a hybrid to ensure that farmers can run from sun up to sundown. Biomethane was specifically targeted as a desired fuel source as it's one of the greenest biofuels. The cool part of it is that it's generated from livestock waste, which farmers may need to dispose of. Livestock waste is a large contributor of methane, a more potent but largely harmless greenhouse gas. In order to maximize the effectiveness of the biomethane fuel, the M1 is designed to accommodate larger, specialized canisters, which the company offers a refueling service for. The tractor is set to enter production in its native Lithuania next year, and will come with a top speed of around 8 miles per hour. Have you ever seen tractor races or a tractor chicken? That's still pretty fast for a tractor. Running for 12 hours, it produces net zero emissions, while just one M1 on a farm will reduce a farmer's carbon footprint by 100 tons per year. That's pretty good. And we've got one more left. Aw, this one's cute. So, she had no idea her dog was totally blind. Vet declares his skill at obstacle courses as a medical mystery by Good News Network from today. An incredible dog whose owner didn't even know he was blind for over 9 months has been declared a medical mystery by a veterinary expert. Border Collie Dave never puts a foot wrong. He can even navigate around puddles despite his blindness, leaving vets completely baffled. Jane Downs, 69, says that her pooch has always come when called and happily plays with other dogs despite his undeveloped retinas, leaving him completely blind. Believed to be 5 or 7 years old, usually you can tell by how white their teeth are. Dave had been with Jane for almost a year before she made the discovery. No one's got any answers. It's just a conundrum, and it's very strange. He's a blind dog that can see. Maybe it's a sixth sense. I mean, who knows? Jane bought Dave from an animal rescue center in February of 2020, when no issues were raised regarding his sight even after a checkup at the local vet. I mean, how would they even know, right? Because it's not an issue of like a cataracts, he just doesn't have any retinas that work properly. Jane from Water Beach Camps said, he jumped into the back of the car and I brought him home. On a couple of occasions, he walked into things, but I put that down to him being a sheepdog, who more than likely lived in a barn rather than a house. When Dave stumbled over a step at a pet shop in Cambridge, the owner suggested to Jane that her dog might be blind, so she took him to see a specialist vet. Turns out, Dave had been sightless from birth. After the revelation, Jane called on the help of Cambridge University's David Williams, a top veterinary ophthalmologist, who organized 2 obstacle course challenges for Dave. He told a local newspaper, I see a lot of blind dogs, and they all bump into objects in a way that Dave didn't. So at present, he is a medical mystery. Just because I've been doing this for 33 years, it doesn't mean I've seen everything, and this I can't explain. That's great. Dave now enjoys running around at home with his new brother Sammy, a 2-year-old border collie who joined the family last year. He chases other dogs around, even though he can't see them, says Jane. He had everyone fooled, even me, as his owner. I was fooled for 9 months. This dog is fantastic. I mean, this is like, I don't even know how it's possible. No one knows how it's possible, but he's figured it out. Aw, what a good boy. What a good boy. She's like, I have no idea how he does it. He's just able to walk around and do stuff normally. It's just that he is actually blind. Yeah, that dog doesn't look blind to me, right? If you told me that dog could see, I would believe you. I wouldn't know any different. So I wonder if there's some kind of echolocation going on. But the thing is, this dog isn't barking to echolocate or anything, right? They're not making a huge amount of noise or trying to like make a disturbance to tell where things are. They just know where they are. They just seem to know where things are around them. Isn't this crazy? Unexplainable. Is this dog psychic? I think that's putting it a little too far, maybe, but certainly this is a bizarre series of events that are happening around this. It's a very peculiar dog. That's all I can say, really, right? A very peculiar dog. No, they said their retinas don't work. They actually can't see anything. This dog never had any retinas, so it actually has no ability to see anything. right? That's the crazy part. If we were to say like, oh, he has a working set of low vision, low light stuff, yeah, I understand. I understand. And it'd be enough to say he can see the shadows well enough, right? That would be amazing on its own. But he can't see anything, right? He can't see anything. So that's just bizarre, you know. He has them all fooled. They're all like, he can see, but you know, he never could. It makes me think of an awful joke that I won't be telling on this stream. But we're coming to the end of our time. So, thank you so much. I'm going to go through and thank everybody. Thank you to Third Tech. Thank you to Playful, always as our mod, who has not yet needed to wield her sword against anybody. And thank you to Chia. Lovely to have you, Chia, for the first time. Thank you to Sale, who showed up. Thank you to Anna. A special thank you to Anna, who I will thank again here in a minute, for doing this awesome thing for me and being the first founder. No, Anna, you deserve so much praise for that. That's very helpful of you. That makes me feel like I'm doing a lot more right just from that. And you guys, you make this special. Almost like the weird bots we've gotten. Yeah, the weird bots were sort of strange. But let me get this going here. So as a little bit of a recap, something that happens in every one of these streams is that we learn a little bit more about what's going on with us, right? But for 51 weeks, I've been thinking, I can't wait until we hear that first subscriber noise. You know, I thought, thank you so much, Rissy. I thought, I don't know what I'll do when I hear it, but, you know, I'll do anything I can to try and make myself worthy of that noise. That's up to you, Playful. That's up to you. But I wanted to be worthy of someone who people could listen to and enjoy, and they would say he's worth it. He's worth that $5 a month, you know, regardless of if it's a Twitch Prime sub or anything. Being worthy of that means so much to me, and it's a little bit of a life changer, to be honest with you, to see someone doing it, even if they're my friend and they want to support me. But being worthy of that support and having changed so much over the past 5 years, I know my whole thing right now is that I'm as wholesome as possible and that I work so hard to keep us PG, but I haven't always been that way. You know, I was a teenager once and I was so radically edgy and in such a bad place, and I can't really say enough that it fills me with a lot of feelings of hope for the stream and for myself, that we can do this and that we can make it work together. So honestly, no one needs to sub to make this a success, but that sub, you know, that made my day and made my week. It's been a little bit of a tough week, so it's very appreciated. I love you guys. You know, you're great. And thank you so much for all of your support. And I hope you'll join me again next week when we do this all over again. I'm grateful for you guys. You all enjoyed being here. We're good. We'll get no more good news, more animals, and maybe even more people showing up for the good vibes. And as always, you guys have a safe night. Enjoy yourselves. Sleep tight. And take care. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.